And another one bites the dust. Well, potentially, is Josh Giddey may be missing tonight's game against the Utah Jazz due to a non-COVID related illness. We're going to get into all and more, but first, we got to play that intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go and get into this news for today. This is a quick one. Josh Giddey, due to a non-COVID related illness, is now listed as questionable for today's game against the Utah Jazz. Now, I've talked about this in today's earlier episode in regards to the Utah Jazz, especially if Lauri Markkanen is not playing. This is a team that's averaging, the only team in the NBA that's averaging less than 100 points per game. The only team in the entire NBA averaging less than 100 points per game. They're not a great defensive team. They're not a great offensive team. And while Josh Giddey is very much meant a lot to the Chicago Bulls offense, if you're moving then to a starting lineup of Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu as your 1 and 2, Dalen Terry, Torrey Craig, or Julian Phillips as your 3, this could very well, the Bulls are just going back to a lot of what they did last year, right? In that case, yes, that lineup had DeMar DeRozan, but I do think that this team is more than ready to withstand, that one game in that scenario. So I think this is not something to really worry about too much. It's an illness. It isn't anything that's probably going to linger on or anything like that. And this medical staff could very well look at it and say, if we're going to be missing any game with Josh Giddey and be without Zach LaVine, this is the game to do it against the Utah Jazz. Now, the Bulls still cannot take their foot off the pedal at all, right? You got to still come in here and prepare. You got to still come in here and be ready to execute. But this is something that, it is what it is when it comes down to it, man. The Bulls have enough to still compete with the Utah Jazz. That just is what it comes down to. And that's not a slight to the Utah Jazz, but that's just looking at what they've done before. Now, we do know this Bulls team is susceptible to lose to anybody at any time, at least if we're still maintaining what we've seen from the team at any over the last 3 years. But when you look at it, actually, the team could be a much better defensive team tonight with Josh Giddey and Zach LaVine being out. You're going to insert defenders in Ayo Dosunmu, even if it's Julian Phillips, even if it's Torrey Craig. You're going to insert players that are way better defensive-minded players, right? So while you're probably not going to have the scoring output that we've seen from the Bulls, you may not still have the 40-plus three-pointers or anything like that, but adding the defense into that starting lineup, giving other players opportunity on that bench where we got a lot of defenders coming off that bench, getting Manas Busila some minutes if it's the case, it could be the best of all the worlds that the Bulls should really be looking for in this game. So I'm not really too worried about it. Maybe I should be more worried about it than what I am. And again, this isn't a slight to the Utah Jazz. It's just the reality of the situation. You want your players to be healthy. If Josh Giddey's sick, he's not available, he's not 100%, cool. You sit his ass down. If Zach LaVine's sore with the abductor strain, you sit him down. And you just got to use the next man up mentality. Now, you're going to have to play very differently, right? That's the thing here. It's not like you're going to come in here and do the exact same things that you've done before. It's going to have to be a little different, but you're going to have to figure it out. And that's just the nature of basketball. It's not the first time. Hell, I'd say this. We've been in this situation where we've missed 2 or 3 starters, and they're not coming back anytime soon, right? If you miss them for this game, it gets them some additional time off. The Bulls don't play again until Wednesday. So that would theoretically give Zach LaVine with his injury, Josh Giddey with his sickness, another 2 days to get healthy, be ready to go, because we do need all hands on deck against the Dallas Mavericks. That's the game where you need everybody to be healthy. So Josh Giddey, you better be taking your emergency, some vitamin C, some witch hazel. You better be taking all of it, some castor oil. Just get you a nice mix, some hot toddies, get you everything going on there. Get your ass ready to go, because we're going to need you against the Dallas Mavericks. Same thing for Zach LaVine. Sit on your back. I don't know what to tell you. Like the abductor strain, do everything you can to not restrain it. But this game against the Utah Jazz, even if the Bulls do lose it because they're missing all these guys, cool. It is what it is. But the tests are coming. The more difficult teams are coming. And so we need everybody to be healthy. So the one thing that this medical staff has really done since the offseason for this version of the medical staff is they've been very protective over their players. I don't foresee any reason why that's going to change. They get a little bit of the benefit of the doubt for me because of that. And we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens when it comes down to it. And I'm not too mad at it. We got Josh in the building. So that means Bulls playing Utah. They should be fine. But then again, it is the Bulls. You're right. You're right. On the bright side, at least it's happening early in the season. At least. Oh my God. Enunciate, Shay. Enunciate. At least it's happening early in the season and not towards the end where the playoffs are starting. I mean, yeah, we'll see. If he doesn't play, Kobe and Io lineup along with Julian Phillips could be the nice defensive game for us minus Nikola Vucevic. Could be. Shout out to Haize, the harder working man in Chicago. You think this means Io will start at the one of well, no. If Josh Giddey doesn't play, Kobe's probably moved because that's what it was last year. Kobe was the one, Io was the two. So if I had to guess that Kobe would move to the one, Io would slate in as that two, and we may get to see Io DeSumo have another big offensive night, right? Well, his first one this season. Haize dropping vids left and right. Listen, this is what I do for a living. I honestly, the only reason that this news did not come out as it broke is because I was recording Locked On NBA. Otherwise, I would have already been done and off, and I got to go do Bleacher Report after this. So, I'm the hardest working man in podcasting. It is what it is. Much is expected from the greatness that is Haize, and so I'm going to do it when it comes down to it. What am I going to do? Not do the episodes? Let's see. Haize dropping vids left and right. Regardless of who plays or doesn't play, the Bulls starters cannot afford to get off to another slow start. You can't. I don't care who you're playing. You don't want to get off to a slow start. I am worried. Fans were expecting the Bulls to get easy win against the Brooklyn Nets. Remember, I don't think that. I didn't come into that. Even in me previewing the game, I told everybody this Brooklyn Nets team is beating teams right now, and they're scoring pretty well. So if people thought it was going to be an easy win because of the preseason predictions, they just weren't paying attention to who the Brooklyn Nets have been this season. They've actually been a pretty damn good scrappy team. I'm not mad at this. I want to see what we look like without Lil G. That's hilarious. Lauri's dropping 34. We don't even know if Lauri's playing tonight. So he may be dropping 34 bottles of water on the bench, but we can't say what he's going to. And at the end of the day, like for people who talk shit, and this is something that people need to wake up to. I'm gonna burst some bubbles real quick here before I get out of this live. Lauri Markkanen is Zach LaVine, but probably worse. Meaning that Lauri Markkanen puts up some great points, but how many wins has that gotten him? Lauri Markkanen actually has a worse winning percentage than Zach LaVine. So let's be clear here. Lauri may very well put up 40, but that could put the Bulls in a better situation to win the game. Because I tell you what, Lauri Markkanen, he puts up some numbers. Great score. He puts up some great numbers. He has some fun games to watch, but they don't usually equate to wins, right? So for the same people that have talked about Zach LaVine putting up empty calorie points, go and look at Lauri Markkanen's win percentage over the last 3 years when he's had big games. Go and look at that for me and come back and tell me how bad Zach LaVine is. Yeah, I'm going to the Bulls-Mavs game Wednesday, so I hope they all rest and come back strong. I hope for you as well, Dale. Ain't nothing worse than going to a Bulls game and everybody's out. I've done it before. It sucks. Maybe this could probably be a game that Patrick Williams steps up and starts scoring 20 points. Keyword maybe. I mean, every game is that potential, right? Like the thing with Patrick Williams is, and this is why when people say like, oh, if such and such is out, DeMar being gone, it's all about Patrick Williams' mentality. It's all about Patrick Williams' mentality. It's all about that. Like, it doesn't matter who's out, who's in, who's guarding them, who's not. This all comes down to who Patrick Williams is mentally. That's all it comes down to. Lauri dropping 40. He could. I think teams see us and the Nets the same way. I mean, and really, you can't blame them. At least not right now. The Bulls are going to have to show it sustained over a while before that mindset changes for the Bulls. They just are. And Lauri's a 7-footer at that too. Like, yeah, I mean, he is a 7-footer, legit 7-footer. He does block shots, right? But all I can say to it is I go back to it's the win percentage. Like, there's a lot of people over the course of NBA history that have put up a lot of points and ain't won shit. Now, it's not all on Lauri. The Utah Jazz have been a weirdly constructed team. They've also been a team that seems like they don't really have a lot of faith in their roster, even though they got some good pieces. So I'm not saying that it's all on Lauri the same way it's not all on Zach LaVine. The same way. You think the Bulls take this W? I think that they can. I've learned with this team and covering Chicago sports, you can never say never with anything. By the way, y'all see the new Chi-Town Sports Central logo right up here? You see that? You see that? This was the old one. This is the new one. Upgrades. That's what we doing here. But at the end of the day, man, the Bulls still got enough to compete in this game. They just got to keep their heads about them. They got to be prepared, and we'll see. Hopefully, this is the game where players like Modest, JP, and Dalen get increased minutes, especially if all three of them play well tonight. As a fact, this could be one of those games. While as Lauri was sent down and called back up, this could be one of those games where it's like, all right, Lauri, we got to use you. You got to get 12 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes tonight. What you got? And Lauri, with the type of mentality that he has, I hope that Lauri comes out and surprises some people. I really hope that he does, because he's going to be good. Lauri's going to be good. Are you having ham or turkey for Thanksgiving this year? Nigga, I don't fucking know. I haven't thought about that yet, to be honest with you. I have not thought about it at all. I have not thought about Thanksgiving food at all. I need to start, though. I mean, you're not wrong. I need to start, but I haven't thought about it yet. No dispute, fire. Call me stupid but if the Utah Jazz offer you Walker Kessler for Zach LaVine, will you take it? No, you need a lot more than Walker Kessler for Zach LaVine. The Bulls better not take that deal. Like, I get it that people are down on Zach LaVine, but you better get a lot more than just Walker Kessler. You better get Jordan Clarkson as well in that deal. If you tell me Walker Kessler, Jordan Clarkson, and a protected first-round pick, top 5 protected, I'll take that deal. If the Bulls are just like, we just need to get Zach LaVine out of here. Ideally, I would rather keep Zach LaVine. But I'm just saying, if you're telling me that it's either you take this deal as Zach LaVine walks or whatever else, you got to come with more than just Walker Kessler. Now, I like Walker Kessler. I actually like the potential of Walker Kessler and Modest Bucilis as a 4 and 5 combo really nicely. I think they cover up for each other. They're both really nice rim protectors, but you got to give me more than that, because Zachary LaVine is better than it just comes to just getting Walker Kessler back in a deal. That's crazy. That's crazy. Crazy. But all right, y'all, I wanted to give this quick update in regards to Josh Giddey being questionable for tonight. You guys know if news drops, we drop. This is my 6th episode today, and I still got at least 3 more tonight with the Daily. I'm about to go do Bleacher Report for the Chicago Bears. I love you guys, man. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. And I'll see you guys tonight. And the drip tonight for the game, the drip's about to be legit. So make sure you guys